Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Illa Gezey. Today we have a real conversation that I've been waiting to have a conversation about. It is about a pathway to success. This is episode number 30. This is about a pathway to success for formerly incarcerated individuals, a pathway to success for convicted felons. I get a lot of comments, a lot of messages, a lot of feedback that say, well, you do the crime, you do the time. Stop complaining. You should have followed the law. You had your chance. And all of that can be true to a certain extent. And when you know better, you'll do better. So won't that be true as well, right? Right. Stop complaining about the consequences. I did 15 years. I was sentenced to 15 years in prison. I understand when you make certain decisions, consequences come with that. I totally get it. So I did the crime. I did my time. At what point does the punishment end? That is the question for today. At what point does the punishment end?
12 years, 85%. I did it. I stood on it. Thing about the streets is you can be caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time. I still got partners out there. You can't expect everybody to see things the way you see it when everybody didn't go through what you went through.
Real topics, real stories, real events. Get my real output.
Now let's talk about a pathway to success. A pathway to success for number one. I look at it as if, because for one, it's two things. Accountability and opportunity. Two things that can go hand in hand. Because just because I take accountability doesn't mean I will gain opportunities. But I believe that they can exist together. Be held accountable for your actions, as you should. Opportunities should exist along the way of rehabilitation. I feel like during the process of rehabilitation, don't just send a person away and put them away from their family. Retrain their minds. Retrain the way they're thinking. If they're thinking in a criminal mindset, retrain those thoughts while they're incarcerated. Help them to retrain those thoughts into something positive, into something real, into something productive for the society. I saw this theory a couple of days ago. I don't remember whose podcast it was on, but I saw a theory where I believe scientists way back, two scientists, one of them was doing some ill treatment to people trying to retrain their thoughts because humans are a product of behavior. So they was trying to retrain their thoughts. And anyways, that scientist got in trouble for whatever they did. But when people go into incarceration, go into prison, they need things to keep them busy, keep them focused, and prepare them for the outside. It doesn't matter if they got 5 years or if they got 25 years. They need to constantly be preparing for the outside. That is the pathway. That is part of the pathway to success. Accountability. That's where it starts with. And then opportunities come along the way. On part two of this, what does society actually expect? And I thought about this subtopic because it seems like I don't know if I'm just ignorant to what society expects, but they take all of these things away from you. Y'all hear me complain all the time about not having my gun rights because I'm a felon. What do they expect for me to do if someone was to break in my house right now while we on camera? what would they expect me to do? How would I defend my house? But that's one thing. You are told to stay out of trouble when you go home and get out of prison. You're told to immediately stay out of trouble. Okay, cool. You're told to get a job, pay bills, take care of children, go find somewhere to live. You're taught to do these things immediately as soon as you go home. I ain't gonna say you're taught to do these things. You are put out here into society, and these are the real life things that you have to deal with. These are the real life things that you have to live around that you wasn't having to do while you were incarcerated. I always tell people I think that takes time. In the feds, they do halfway houses. I believe the state of South Carolina, when they pick up my proposal about a pathway to success, once I finish putting it all the way together, I'm going to figure out how to propose it. Because it isn't just an episode, it is a proposal that I'm putting together that basically introduces certain things and ways that you can help people coming home from prison. You don't want to baby them, you don't want to pamper them. You want them to earn the right to have to come out here and be successful citizens instead of pushing them out here and say, here, go be a successful citizen, but you can't do this, you can't have this, you won't be able to get a license in this field, which means you ain't gonna be able to be one of them, you ain't gonna be able to be a doctor. You know what I'm saying? You can't do certain things, clearly. And yeah, we want you to be a productive citizen. That's what they're doing now. What I'm trying to reverse is I'm trying to, and once I finish it all the way together, I will present it in full. But I'm trying to find a method, a layout, a blueprint to put certain things in order before a person is coming home from prison. Right now, what they do, they start rushing to prepare you in about 6 months. I want to say them last 90 days, they get real. They start forcing it, cramming it all together. And I think to do it all the way right, they need at least a year. If you're about to come home, you need at least a year. They need to be lining you up with jobs and wherever you're about to live. Wherever you're about to live, that needs to be known then. What city, that needs to be known then, because what we'll have to do is start partnering up with these employers. I'm talking about having real partnerships with employers that's going to give jobs to formerly incarcerated individuals coming home looking for a job. So these guys will have jobs before they even touch foot on the ground. Give them a week grace period and have them boys going to work immediately. This is part of the pathway to success proposal that I have. I feel like there's a pathway to success. And I feel like the pathway to success is complicated to some, because some people just say, oh, you did the crime, you do the time. You come home and you work and you don't complain. And that's just that on that. And I get it, because think about it. If you do something in life, like they say, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. If I take a knife and cut my finger all the way off, I won't have a finger. I mean, there's no making up for that. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, some things are lifelong stains, But at what point does the punishment end? Because I believe when you are sentenced to time in prison, it is to pay a debt to society for what you have done. You broke the law, so you're paying your debt to society. So once you pay your debt to society, shouldn't everything just be clear right then and there? Or should you always have a stain on your resume? Should that always affect how people look at you, judge you? Should that always throw a red flag up on you? Because let's be fair. Let's just be fair. I got robbery charges, drug charges, gun charges, stuff like that. It's violent charges. And since it is violent charges, it's a heavier stain than non-violent charges. People talk about getting expunges and stuff like that. Well, in South Carolina, you probably won't get an expunge charge if it's violent. And the only way I can see it is, only way I can see me ever getting most of my rights back the right way is maybe a pardon, a governor pardon. Other than that, and that's a long shot. Other than that, I feel like a pathway to success, if it won't help people like me, it would help somebody. Right now, I'm coming to terms and grips that there is no pathway to success for a person with my kind of resume. I seen my record recently, because y'all be telling me that these jobs go back 5 years or 7 years on the background check. Well, guess what? Y'all be lying to me. And I think every state is different, but check it. I just recently seen my background check again, which I seen them a couple years ago as well, but I just recently seen it a couple days ago, or last week, or whatever it is. And when I seen it, I was like, damn. Man, when you're a certain kind of employer and you're hiring an employee that's going to be responsible for certain things, and you see certain charges, of course you're going to see the red flag. You're going to say that, well, so when I saw my record, I was like, oh shit, I wouldn't hire me for that. But I see it, you know what I'm saying? So I get it. On some jobs, I get it. I 100% understand. Even if it was an accident, it's up to that job to look at it and look how far back it was and see what the outcome was and all of that type of stuff to see if they would like to weigh the options. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I looked at my charges and I was like, ooh. But like I said, a pathway to success isn't to try to help a person of my stature, but it is to try to help a person who committed a crime, went to prison, did their time, came home, looking to be a successful and a productive citizen, but they have no pathway to success. They get thrown right back out here into the same environment, same city, same people, because maybe if they're in a small town, it's a very small town, everybody know everybody. You can't run from that. What do you expect that person to do? Because it reminds me of when people go to jail for maybe like 5 guns, 1,000 ounces of marijuana, and such ounces of X or whatever else, and then they bond out on a $50,000 surety bond. And the officers, investigators, solicitors, all of them, what do y'all think that they think that person is going back out there to do? Go find a job? at Hardee's, McDonald's, I don't think that they think that. So that's why I say, like, when you throw a person who hasn't been out here in society over a decade, it's a lot of changes that has taken place. A lot of changes. I recommend during the pathway to success that they make sure every inmate before going home has to speak with the counselor. Mandatory. This is all about the pathway to success. So once you enter that pathway to success program, at the end, it's about being successful. And I feel like the state can work together with employers and make this thing happen good. And I know that we'll never be even, especially violent felons. I know we'll never be even as the person who doesn't have any criminal history, but at least give us a pathway that we can at least be close to earning all of our rights back and living like the citizens of the United States. So when you say get a job, when you come home from prison, get a job, let's not make it so difficult for a person to get a job. Let's not make it so hard. When you say be productive, guide them into what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, I got thrown out here and they said a lot of people wasn't getting jobs, a lot of people wasn't hiring. And then on the other end, you talk to the people with the jobs and they say, oh, nobody's trying to work. And what I see and analyze is nobody's trying to work for the amount these jobs are paying. So what people are doing is people are sacrificing some of their fun life and so on and so forth to make more money, but they're sacrificing more of their time. What do I mean? It's a lot of 12-hour shift jobs going on, swing shifts, and people making that a standard. People making that exactly how their life is supposed to be, and I just don't see the balance in that. But that is what those employers are doing to lock you in. There are people who hire felons, but the problem is, I think the people who hire felons hire certain kind of felons, and it depends on what kind of job it is and what kind of responsibilities you have within that job. Now, during the pathway to success, I feel like the first step is ownership. Just like accountability, like I said, accountability and opportunity should go hand in hand. I really feel like the next step is ownership. Owning your responsibilities, own your success. You own up to those charges, you did your time, now earn your success. Own it. Own it. Earn it and own it. It's yours. You know? At some point, man, you just gotta say, I'm gonna play the hand I was dealt. Because right now I'm at a time where I've been noticing the whole time I got home that nobody wants to hire me. And I'm okay with it to a certain extent until I see it's just totally 100% unfair. But my biggest thing is I can't change my record overnight. I know what kind of jobs definitely ain't gonna hire me. It shouldn't have took me this long for me to realize that, but I know to a certain extent, I know some jobs that definitely won't hire me, so I put them on my do not apply list no more. And I'm just playing my hand how it's dealt to me. It's just like playing poker. I'm looking at the hand I was dealt. I gotta play it. Whether I use my poker face or whether I really got two pairs in my hand looking for a full house. Whatever it is, I gotta play my hand how it's dealt to me. I see how it's dealt to me. I see the games that they playing out here. So now what you have to do is prepare and lay out the proper steps. That is part of the pathway to success. If you want to start a business, everybody has an idea to start a business. Now let's talk about taxes. Let's talk about your ROI. Let's talk about how you're going to get the capital. Let's give you knowledge on all of that. That's part of the pathway to success. Giving you the knowledge and wisdom and understanding by other people and have them give you the game on whatever it is. But if you want to start a business, there's a lot of things that you need to know. Like you might not see profit for the first 5 years. So are you able to sacrifice certain things in order to start and run a business, depending on what kind of business it is? Sometimes you have to take loans out and stuff like that. Now you got to make sure you got A1 credit when you're coming out here. So now one of your first things you might want to work on is getting your credit right. And that way your pathway to success doesn't look like everybody else's pathway to success. Your pathway to success can be, okay, well, I got a 5-year pathway to success, and where you meet certain goals each quarter or each year. And that way your pathway to success is mapped out. And eventually, like I said, I really strongly believe that convicted felons, after a certain amount of time, after you've proven yourself to a certain extent, I always say I want to protect my household. Give people their gun rights back to protect their household at least. Because it should be no reason why it should be leaving your house like that. At least in your household. It's certain measures I feel like can be taken to make sure people under the pathway to success act. It's certain measures and oversight boards that can be created to make sure people is doing right, to see the percentage of people is helping versus the percentage of people is not helping. And we want everybody to get into the pathway to success program, but we know everybody isn't going to be into the pathway to success program because some people ain't going to want to give up their addiction to drugs quite yet. But you have to give certain things up when you enter a program like this. When I'm able to find a way to get with leaders and put this together, I'm going to put this together with some representatives, with some people, and we're going to try to do this right, because it's not about babying inmates when they coming home, or it's not about pampering nobody. No, it's about you did the crime, you do the time, but when you come home, all of that should be out of the window. All of that should be gone. All of that should be away from you, and you should be granted a pathway to start a new you. Incarceration and freedom is a very thin line. And I say that because you can lose your freedom real quick. You can't get that freedom back real quick, but you can lose your freedom real quick. I can go outside right now and lose my freedom right now. I'll be done sit back there waiting on a bond. And if I do get a bond, I gotta make the bond. If I don't get a bond, I gotta wait on trial. You know what I'm saying? Then if you get sentenced to time, you gotta sit in prison. It just ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. It's more worth it to do right. Find legit ways to finesse and mingle out here. Find legit ways to get through society. It's legit hustles that can get you through. It's loopholes in the law that we probably just don't have knowledge of. You know what I mean? But my main thing with the Pathway to Success program and the Pathway to Success Act is to give guys something to do, something to look forward to, even during a 20-year sentence. Because what happens is during that time, you lose, because you're going to change throughout that time by growing, maturing more and more, seeing and living in that environment. You know, your mindset is just going to change in general. But, you know, I just think, man, doing amount of time like that, man, a person be done lost so many friends, lost so many loved ones. You know, what are they coming home to when they don't have solid foundation? What are they coming home to, you know, after 20 years? So we have to give programs like this a chance, because they have drug programs. They do have drug programs that are similar to this. I wouldn't say they are just like this. They have their own little twist. I know of one where the person, this is just what I believe it's like. I don't know exactly, but I know like once they accept you, it's a drug program. So they'll test you, they'll drug test you, and they'll let you finish the rest of your prison time with them on their property. And I believe you start doing drug tests a lot. And I think they take certain things from you and you earn it all back little by little. And eventually you're kind of like at a little camp, but you're outside. You're not in prison cells. I don't know. It's different, but it's a great idea, but it's only for people who's on drugs. I don't know. So this Pathway to Success is for people who want to do right, but don't have the resources, don't have the knowledge, and are basically barred from certain jobs because of their criminal background. And also, I believe they need to take a look at these jobs doing this to us. How far back can they go on your background to look at what you did? That's a whole nother topic. But I feel like a Pathway to Success would begin with us communicating with jobs, communicating with the public, and jobs just speaking up and letting it be known they hire felons. You have some jobs who say, yes, they hire felons, but we don't need it to where these guys coming home don't know. No, they print me out a list and I know that list ain't right, because what it is certain felons that list hire, and then certain felons it don't. Like the lady told me, you was better off committing a M charge or selling drugs. That's what they told me. Somebody told me that at the Vote Rehab place. It sure did. And I see and understand, because I have robbery charges, so I've also had someone else tell me they understand my situation, but their insurance wouldn't allow them to hire me. It would be too risky. So when I think about stuff like that, I'm just like, all right, why do they even run the background check? I get it. I understand the importance. But I just, at some point we got to get past it. I just need us to be able to get past that background thing, or just show your improvement since you've been home. Show the consistency. Show that you've been grinding. Show that you changed. Show your growth. It's hard. It ain't easy. Look what I'm doing. I'm preaching to y'all when I could be playing the PlayStation 5 or some shit. But I'm on here preaching to y'all because this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I just don't want no closed doors to shut everybody down. Don't let that stop you. I talk trash every time a door get closed for me, but I don't let that stop me. I take that and I let it push me. I take that and I let it give me some more drive. Let me see what's going on. It gotta be something I'm missing. It gotta be something where I can correct. It gotta be something, because I'm always thinking with a purpose. I'm here for a purpose, so let me find my purpose. All right, God, what you trying to show me? What are you trying to show me? And let's be honest. No disrespect to nobody who ever said, man, go get your CDL. Man, I don't want no CDL. And I don't feel like just because you've been to prison that you have to get a CDL to feel comfortable or to go get money. I don't know. That ain't what I want to do. No disrespect to nobody who ever offered it to me, though, because a few people done offered it to me. Family, friends, close connections, and everything. But listen, y'all, I don't want no CDL. I just don't. That's something I don't want to do. There's some jobs you just don't want to do. You don't want to do it. You just don't. That one of the jobs right there. I ain't want to do that. So that's what I mean. Man, for a pathway to success, man, you got to give a person options for opportunities. Options for opportunities. And you know what that does? You know what that does overall? That cuts down on crime. Because think about it. Person coming home from prison, bills. You want them to work a BS job, barely get by, have a car, have reliable transportation, and get food and pay all these bills and do everything that they have to do with no jump start. No jump start. Nope. You don't need no food stamps. You don't need no housing. You don't need no help. Nope. You need to go right here from being in prison to being in society, being a successful human. So you want them to go out there and do all of these things. Make a living. No excuses. No complaining. Make it happen. Don't commit no crimes. Be a good boy. You want them to do all that with no help, no resources, no preparation, no rehabilitation. Just from incarceration to freedom, and I want you to live right. So you don't want them to commit no crimes, right? So when it gets rough or they get fired or end up quitting or can't find a job, yet the bills ain't stopping and they have to eat and they have to live, what do you think is going to happen next? Crime may or may not come behind that. And that is why you set people up for success. You set people up for success. People getting out of school, set them up for success. Inmates coming home from prison, set them up with a pathway to success so that they can be successful and productive citizens within their community. We don't want to punish them for life. We want to see them turn around so that they can help the youth out a little bit. And then maybe they can help a domino effect. We don't want to punish people for life. We don't want to do that. That's not a good thing to do. I can hold on to mine. I did things that I shouldn't have did. I just don't feel like it should be a stain forever. But I understand. I get it. I think about it all the time. I got more work to do. I got more I gotta do. That's just what it is. I got more work that I gotta do. I ain't crying and complaining. I just want the playing field to be a little bit fair. That's all. That's all I be wanting. I just want the playing field to be a little bit fair, but now I get an understanding that it ain't fair and it can't be fair. So I'm going to figure out how we can make it fair for everyone else while me, on my end, just accepting the fact that it won't be fair for me, probably in my lifetime. But maybe we can get some changes that'll trickle down to everyone else. Maybe. Let's just keep pushing. I feel like a pathway to success is something that I would love to collaborate with other community leaders, people who know how to connect the dots with the senators, the representatives, and all of that type of stuff. I can present you the whole layout of the proposal that I have so far. We can add it, edit it, critique it, debate it, and all of that type of stuff. I'm an open book. Anybody want to jump in there and tackle it with me, we can do it. I feel like this episode was very much important because everybody always in my comments saying, you did the crime, you did the time. You lost that right, buddy. Hey, and some of them, they be so right. You right. I lost that right. But what about the people who are locked up and they didn't do nothing, but you got them locked up for the wrong charge? That's another topic, right? Right. This has been another episode of Real Talk with Illa Gezey. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And listen, man, everyone has a story. Yours can inspire someone. Drop a comment in the comments.